What up, y'all? Appreciate you showing up, hanging out, listening to my dumb ass. Like and subscribe. Anyway, so I have been playing Atomic Heart. I started it a couple days ago. I think I just did one kind of preliminary sit down with it. Maybe an hour into it, I'm not sure. I got to the part where past the intro, past the invasion, and now I'm the robots are attacking me. I'm killing them, right? Okay, sure, whatever, that's fine. But that's not what I want to talk about. I'm not gonna do a review, obviously, because I only played an hour. But that's not what it is. What I'm talking about here is the comparisons of whomever on the internets, on Twitters, and all that stuff, of Atomic Heart's writing versus Forespoken. Now, I see the correlations, and I would say that Atomic Heart is probably a better game than Forespoken. But if we're gonna just compare the two writings, now, like I said, I've only had an hour with the game, and already I'm like, Crispy Critters, whatever homeboy says, I can't remember his name. He's not a good protagonist. I think that game would have been a better game as a silent protagonist if he didn't talk. And your hand glove, he's called a glove. Well, I'll call you what I want to, glove. And the thing is right, the voice actor who does the voice of the protagonist in Atomic Heart is not a bad voice actor. His voice is nice. I'm like, oh, that's a very nice. It reminds me of Troy Baker a little bit, voice. And so I was like, oh, that's cool. But the writing, oh my god, what's going on with the writing in video games right now? It's like, because Forespoken does not get a pass because they had Amy Hennig and Gary Whitta. Two of the best in the industry. Arguably the best in the industry. I mean, Rogue One, hello, that's a good movie, right? And Amy Hennig started Uncharted, basically. So why is the writing in Forespoken so cringe? I think it's the characters. And I think one of the main things is the interaction. Well, this is Forespoken and for Atomic Heart. The interactions between the protagonists and their AI counterpart, let's call it that, the AI counterparts, is probably toxic. It's meant to be funny, but it doesn't come off as funny. It comes off as cringe, whatever. It comes off as, I don't like you as a human, and that's just an AI. So why you all mean at the AI and stuff? I don't. Well, I mean, that's not even it. It's not. I think what happens, like, as gamers, we look at the protagonist, right? And we want to root for the protagonist. We want the protagonist to be either analog for ourselves or to be somebody we want to be our friends. You will be my best friend if you were in real life, Mr. or Miss Protagonist. That's what we want. We don't want somebody who's cringy and tells bad jokes and is mean to robots, because we project a little bit and we'll say, well, they're mean to robots for no reason. Maybe they're just a mean people. Like, if there's backstory where the protagonist in Forespoken got, I don't know, wronged by a robot or something, or AI, and that's why she doesn't like AI and stuff, then okay, sure. You gotta give a reason, like, same with Atomic Heart. Say if, he was wronged by a robot and that's why he's disrespecting the glove, sure. Like the Mandalorian. The Mandalorian hated droids, right? And you're like, why is he hate droids? Why is he? Because when he was a kid, the droids like murdered his people. He has a legitimate reason to hate AI, robots, whatever, And when you give us a protagonist that has no reason, it tells me that they're just poopy person. They're just shite. They're not nice people. So I think that's one of the main problems with the protagonists in both of these games, in Forespoken and in Atomic Heart. I would say in Forespoken more so than Atomic Heart. Forespoken is just all over the place. I mean, she's a pretty lady, the actress who plays her. She doesn't look as good in the game, obviously, because graphics aren't that good yet, and it's basically a PS4 game. But in real life, she's a pretty lady, and that's fine. This is her first voice acting gig, and that's fine. I mean, it helps if you're good, but once again, it's the writing and it's the actual character, and it's just not likable, you know. And it's like it's almost like they're trying too hard to be like have an attitude. It's like when, not the Attitude Era of wrestling, but when Sonic the Hedgehog came out, right? You know, it was going head to head against Mario, right? And so Mario is the plumber, hey, boing, you know, all happy and stuff, right? He doesn't have an attitude. He's just a happy, dumb plumber, right? But Sonic's like, yo, chili dog, son. But I mean, that was in the cartoon. But before the cartoon, he'd sit there, and if you didn't touch the controller, he's over there like, yo, tapping his foot, like, hello, can we run real fast or something? You know, so it's like, and that was fine because that was in the 90s, and you know, that's when that was acceptable. Now you try, it seems like they're trying to do that same, have that same essence of attitude from the 90s now. And I know cultural trends are cyclical, of course, and I believe we're in the 90s right now as far as fashion and all that stuff, 80s, 90s, whatever. But I don't think it translates to writing. I don't think it translates to writing, or the type of writing, or the kind of attitude, or like young people, right? Young people, yes, they look like they are from the 90s, but it is Instagram, it is TikTok. It is not the same as it was back then. So, and in, not the nomenclature, but the dialect of us humans, I can just speak for English, is forever, you know, mutating and morphing and changing, and it has changed. And you can't say rad and awesome and radical and all that stuff. They're like, what? Who's this old person over here talking radical? I mean, I look at me, but you know, it's I don't know. Maybe they need younger writers. I don't know who wrote Atomic Heart, and it's funny because Atomic Heart, made by a Russian studio in Russia, I believe. I'm probably wrong about that, but it was a Russian studio, and it's all straight American actors, and they say they don't say comrade, they say comrade or something. It's weird how they say it. And I was like, why did they say it like that? Comrade. It's weird. It's very weird. I was like, everybody was saying it at the same time. I was like, oh, well, I mean, and like the premise is kind of cool in that we as capitalists, we as people living in a capitalist society, America, we see a little glimpse just in the beginning of how a communist culture like the Soviet Union would look at capitalism. And there was like a little news clip inside that said, oh, the Americans are worried that the shortage of AI robots or something is going to hurt their capitalist structure. I was like, oh, okay, I see how people who aren't in a capitalistic society, capitalism would look at us and be like, oh, you know, that's whack. Our way of doing it is better. And they kind of illustrate it too. You're walking through like that little fair, and everybody's like, yo, get the super neural implants and do, or take the super pill, and then you learn language automatically. And I'm like, man, I wish the world was like that. Well, you could just take a pill and be super smart. Although that's dangerous, because you give a super smart pill to even a sociopath, that might be dangerous. Forget a psychopath, forget about it. Say, I'm gonna be the smartest psychopath in the world. I mean, they wouldn't talk like that, but you know. Anyway, I thought it was interesting to think about these two protagonists and compare and contrast. Like I said, I'm just barely starting Atomic Heart, but I could just tell by the crispy critters or whatever he said, and really cringy critters, and just kind of how he's like talking to his glove, and I was like, yeah, if it has that Forspoken mojo. No, it has that Forspoken flavor, if you will. It feels like aura. I don't know what you want to call it, but it feels like Forspoken as far as just that part of it. And it's not something I want to. It's not something I want to be witness to. I don't enjoy that. And I think the problem with these two games is that the game doesn't allow the player to grow attached to and like the protagonist before you hate them because of how they speak and how they're acting. I think that's one of the main problems. If it was like, for instance, in Forspoken, right? Say if she got the glove and she's in a new world, stranger in a new world or whatever, and she's like a little naive or a little bit like, what's going on? Okay, okay, the glove's talking to me, and just like not with an attitude or like, oh, I do this now. I was like, oh my god, so bad. If they put it so that she's like a stranger in the new world and a little naive, like I just said, and the glove is kind of her guide, helping her, right? And she's like, she gains a little bit of trust in the glove, and then the glove does something that conflicts with her trust that she's growing towards the bracelet. Then I can see the attitude switch. Then I can see, hold up, you just, and then she can have the attitude, and then that would make sense to me, and then I would be like, okay, she's justified in how she's acting towards the glove because the glove almost got her killed or whatever the case would have been. But they didn't do that. They just started in New York, and she's magically not shot in the face because she has dirt in her hand all the time. It's just a lot of things wrong with Forspoken. I'm not want to get into it because they can keep that one. But Atomic Heart could have been a really good AAA banger, but I think that the whole protagonist setup and the dialogue, some of the performances, but I think it's more the writing, really kind of messed it up. Right now, but I'm gonna keep playing it. I'll play through it and see what it is, and I just hope that this trend doesn't continue. This is 2 games in a row. I hope they see what's going on and write better games. I mean, I know that these 2 games are a result of these kind of triple B games or double A games trying to push above their weight. Basically, that's what these games are. Technically, they're like AAA games. They look like AAA games for the most part. Some of Forspoken doesn't. But Atomic Heart, I'm playing on an Xbox Series S, and I'm like, yo, these graphics is kind of bonkers. I mean, there's no ray tracing. I mean, they have not ambient. I mean, they have ambient occlusion, obviously, but they have screen space reflections instead of ray tracing, which is fine. I'm fine with it. I tested it. I was like, yeah, but it still looks good. So I was like, okay, cool. So I was like, these games feel like triple B games or double A games or A games trying to push above their weight, and they fall short in the writing, and they fall short for Forspoken in the writing and the performance. And it's I would say it's a simple fix, but it is a fix that can be, you have to think about these protagonists a little bit differently. You just can't say, okay, we've created this game, this is the gameplay, let's just throw any protagonist in there. No, the protagonists, what they are, who they are, is very important to us players. We want to be able to relate to them. We want to be them in some instances, or we want to be their friends. And when you fail on those 3 aspects of the protagonist, it's not a protagonist anymore. It's like, I gotta play this game. I just gotta get through it. That's why, like, Half-Life, silent protagonist works because you are the silent protagonist. So that works. So those games might have served better being that way, but there's this trend of having cinematic games, and so if you have cinematic games, your protagonist has to speak and act and do all these performances. Doesn't work when your protagonist is whack. Anyway, I appreciate you hanging out, showing out. Like and subscribe. Let me know in the comments, do you think that this trend of shitty protagonists is something that will be remedied, can be remedied. Is the industry actually paying attention to what we are saying and how these games are performing? You know, and are there any solutions as far as, I mean, yes, write better characters or whatever, but you know, is it a trend? Is it just the age of the writers? Like I said, I don't know who wrote Atomic Heart, so you know, I don't know. Let me know, and I'll see you guys on the next one. Tilt away.